Wednesday or Thursday of last week, I wrote a column. And I wrote it in response to a number of other columns that I thought were out there that were completely unfair to Trump supporters. And I wrote it, sent it to The Day, and they decided not to publish it. I actually sent it to a couple other places where I received a decent response, but unfortunately I sent it to them too late. They couldn't get it in. They were too filled up, as this time of year is a time of year with a lot of political hacks right into to newspapers. And I guess I just got boxed out. But I'm a little disappointed that my friends at The Day didn't go with it, or some facsimile thereof, because I think it was important to sort of try to level the playing field or balance the scales out to what we've been witnessing. But anyway, what I wanted to do, and I don't normally do this, is I wanted to read what I wrote. And you guys can tell me what you think. And if you don't agree, that's fine. If you do agree, great. I'll cut and paste and post it up on social media a little bit later on. But here it is. This is the column that I wrote that did not get published. And I'd like you guys to tell me what you think. Hitler? Really? Hitler? The mainstream media has sunk to an all-time new low, equating Donald Trump to one of history's most vile, despised figures. The architect of the Holocaust, responsible for the slaughter of millions, is now being paralleled with a former United States president. This comparison is not only reckless, but deeply offensive, trivializing the horrors of World War II and diminishing the unspeakable suffering inflicted upon humanity. This is not just misguided, it's shameful, and it undermines the very fabric of honest public discourse. Regardless of political affiliations, this hyperbolic rhetoric has no justification within America's marketplace of ideas. In the eyes of the media, and now a portion of the American public that blindly follows their narrative, if Donald Trump is Hitler, that makes his supporters Nazis. The blood and guts and soul of this nation, hardworking Americans, construction workers, servers, mechanics, doctors, teachers, lawyers, who all plan to vote for Donald Trump on November 5th, are now branded as fascist totalitarians. This caricature isn't just insulting, it alienates millions of citizens who simply want leaders who protect their values, support their jobs, and secure their communities. Painting fellow Americans with such a reckless, sweeping, broad brush isn't journalism, it's propaganda. Initially, the media and many Democrats painted Trump supporters as brainwashed, dullards, with a cultish devotion to an irrational cause. Trump signs, Trump banners, massive rallies across the Rust Belt, and of course the iconic red Make America Great Again hat. Well, they were just indications of blind loyalty for a misguided movement. This hate-filled portrayal of Trumpsters is fundamentally misguided and a grotesque misrepresentation of a large portion of Americans. And on the onset, I too was deeply skeptical of the unwavering allegiance many showed towards Donald J. Trump. His warts are clear, crystal clear. And while many of his supporters are fully aware of his shortcomings, his narcissism, his brash style, and his frequent controversies that surround him, they still choose to stand with him. So why the devotion? Trump is undeniably a polarizing figure, but the deep frustrations that fuel his support come from something far larger than loyalty to one man or even to one party. His supporters are not rallying behind a person, but a larger idea. The core of the support stems from the belief that our nation's foundational values and principles are eroding. Across this country, hardworking citizens feel alienated and disillusioned. For years, they have witnessed the decline of the American spirit, the slow shrink of the middle class, and the crumbling of the moral fabric that once unified our society. Meanwhile, they've seen leaders embrace ideologies that are perceived as undermining the very essence of what it means to be an American. Labeling Trump supporters as cult members or Nazis misses the point entirely. Instead, their support reflects a response to the chaos and dysfunction gripping the nation. Consider the federal government spending over $500 billion on illegal immigration since 2020. That continuously feeds the bloated $36 trillion overall national debt. And while the nation is hemorrhaging money, the current administration feverishly seeks methods to fund the madness, with millions more allocated towards misguided transgender surgeries and, of course, the student debt forgiveness that places a burden on reckless borrowing on the working class American. These policies do not promote or protect American workers. They harm them. When progressive policy initiatives are funded at the expense of the working class, the freedoms that people hold dear gradually give way to dependency. It is important to recognize that whenever a government program benefits one group, another group inevitably bears the financial burden of supporting it. And this dynamic simply is unsustainable in the long run. American families who lean towards Trump expect their elected leaders to uphold the values and framework set forth in the Constitution. They believe in the First Amendment protection of free speech, the Second Amendment's guarantee of the right to bear arms, and the core freedoms that our founding fathers envisioned for this nation. The battle at hand is not merely political, it is a fight for the heart of America and the foundational principles that enable hardworking families to flourish. While the media and progressive voices often deride Trump supporters, they overlook the genuine motivations driving these people. For millions of Americans, the stakes are monumental. Their allegiance is not to an individual, but to a way of life. They are defending their families, their values, and their country. Their resolve to protect America from being transformed into something unrecognizable deserves respect, not ridicule. Trump is not a savior. He is a tool for liberation.